Many people don't acknowledge this problem when talking about major world issues. Most of the time, people jump to world hunger or war. People think it's a thing of the past, but it's definitely not. It's definitely still happening, and it's just as cruel as it used to be. Slavery. The word leaves a bad taste in your mouth, doesn't it? And it should. There are still enslaved peoples all over the world, and they're working to make products that you and I use every single day. More specifically, they're working to provide the food we eat, the packaging that food comes in, and somewhere along the line of transporting that food. These enslaved peoples are working long days with little pay and almost always terrible conditions. But a lot of people still can't answer the question, what is modern day slavery? As defined by International Justice Mission, an organization whose goal is to end slavery and human trafficking worldwide, modern day slavery is defined as the use of lies or violence to force another person to work for little or no pay. Oh, and guess what? Slavery is actually illegal in almost every single country worldwide. So if it's illegal, why is it allowed to continue? And exactly how severe is this problem? Many countries where slavery still takes place have laws in place to prevent it, but they aren't really enforced. According to a 2016 study conducted by the International Labor Organization, approximately 21 million people are being held against their will and coerced to work under threats of intimidation, violence, and economic or immigration status reprisal. About a third of those work in agriculture. This means slavery still plays a role in the supply chain of many food and beverage companies. These reports are, however, based on public disclosure, so chances are these numbers are actually a bit higher, but most companies refuse to share if they use slave labor in their products. Think about some of the larger companies supported all across America. Coca-Cola, Hershey, General Mills, and Pepsi, just to name a few. These are some of the companies who refuse to be transparent as to where their products originate from. It's a little odd, don't you think? Wouldn't you think that if these companies had nothing to hide, they would talk about their product sources openly with the public? Granted, complex supply chains can sometimes make it difficult for a company to know just how many slaves are involved in helping them produce their final product. But they still know what's happening somewhere along the line. These larger corporations often need a short turnaround time at the cheapest possible cost, which puts pressure on suppliers. This can cause an increase in the risk of slavery, as suppliers may feel forced to subcontract work to factories or workers not regulated by the same standards as themselves, or even to underpay workers for extensive hours of labor. Business ethics laws state that businesses in the United States take social responsibility, meaning they refuse to use any slave or child labor, the payment of starvation wages, unsafe work environments, or ethnic, racial, gender, or sexual discrimination. These laws are a little vague though, because they don't really say much about using slave labor from outside the US. However, I think we can all agree that knowingly using slave labor is unacceptable, no matter where it comes from. Here's a simple graphic produced by Made in a Free World on National Donut Day to help put things in perspective for you a little bit. This just goes to show how much slavery can contribute to even one donut. So think about an entire loaf of bread, a cup of coffee, or a chocolate bar. How far are we going to let this go? Luckily, there are many ways to combat this issue. We can begin by supporting organizations who rescue enslaved peoples and help them recover. Organizations such as International Justice Mission, Anti-Slavery International, and Free the Slaves. We can also help by doing small things like buying fair trade. Fair trade products are produced in an ethical manner, and even though they cost a little bit more, the payoff of knowing that you aren't using labor of those who are enslaved is definitely worth it. I'll post a link in the description to End Slavery Now's website, where they list plenty of certified fair trade companies to buy from, including Ben & Jerry's. Aside from these two major things you can do, keep yourself, your friends, and family educated on the topic. Stay up to date with laws and stories of rescue. Write these companies and your local government officials demanding change. And most importantly, don't be afraid to ask questions. You can't learn more about a topic if you refuse to ask. So while slavery is still a major issue in the food industry, and chances are it'll continue to be one for a while, there are steps we can take as members of one of the top consuming nations in the world to help fight this injustice. Because that's exactly what it is. It's a corrupt system with corrupt morals, forcing people with families and lives to do labor they shouldn't have to, for really low wages and awful conditions. So buy fair trade. Support organizations that were previously discussed, and write those companies and government representatives and stay educated on this topic.